Projection. There are two different types of projection. When we are in a pictorial view, we are in an isometric view, one of the corners. Whichever corner we're at, we're in an isometric view. In one of those particular views, it's drawn by default as a perspective projection. A perspective projection is typically used in 2D drafting, especially in architectural drafting, to represent lines that converge at a vanishing point on the horizon. Think of looking down, standing on a set of railroad tracks and looking down the railroad tracks. That's a one-point projection. As you look off to the horizon, the railroad rails come to one point. So that's the way the eye typically sees it. When we're looking at a face and we don't want to see those projections, we go parallel. And parallel then does true projection lines. And this is how typically orthographic projection looks. So we can change between the two by right-clicking on the view cube, and we can go between parallel and perspective. So when I go to parallel, we look right at the view, it's square on. And when I go to perspective, you can see a little bit of taper as it goes away. We have a third choice, it's perspective with ortho faces. So when we pick on an ortho face on the view cube, it's parallel, but when we pick on a corner, then it goes into perspective. So this is kind of the best of both worlds, but it only works when we pick on the view cube, not when we're picking it from one of the view pull-down menus or in the in-canvas controls, such as over here in the in-canvas controls. It doesn't work over here to have the perspective with ortho faces. So typically you probably want to work with perspective. It looks the way the normal eye will see it. If you're designing mechanical parts and you want to see the actual squareness of the part looking straight on, see, I can see those little sides, the underside of that. If I really wanted to see it square on, then I go to parallel, then it's perfectly projected. So typical mechanical people like parallel, and everybody else likes perspective for the most part. So you can see the difference between the two. So two different types of projection. Perspective is when it recedes to a vanishing point, and a parallel when it is straight orthographic projection.